Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Alton. I'm so glad you could join me today. I have something pretty fun for you. It is a brand new offering from a brand new microbrand with a little bit of pedigree behind it. You see, this is a collaboration between Second Hour Watches and Jack Hypoxia. The Second Hour Watches, I'm sure you know pretty well by now. They're a newer microbrand, but they've had some pretty great offerings lately. Jack Hypoxia is a watch modder. Now, I actually didn't know a lot about Jack Hypoxia, but if you go and you check out his Instagram account, you're going to see some really unique and cool stuff. So I encourage you to do that. Now, if you are into watch modding, then you probably know him really well. So this new microbrand is called First Stage. Now, I'm not a scuba diver, but if you are, then you probably know that the first stage regulator is used in scuba diving to decrease or regulate air from the highly pressurized tank to a more usable pressure at the second stage, from which the diver draws breath. And so that's kind of a unique but appropriate name for this brand. I also love that it sort of makes reference to the Second Hour watches. Second Hour, First Stage. It's pretty cool. I think very creative behind that. So why don't we just dive right into the specifications, and then we'll look at the positives, the negatives, and the summary. Well, you should know this watch pretty well by now. This is an SKX base, and what a better way to start from than the watch modder's darling, the SKX. There are some slight differences in the case, which we will get into, but for now, let's look at the general specifications. The case diameter is 42.5 millimeters. You'll notice that the crown is at 4 o'clock. The case thickness is 13.7 millimeters, including a double-domed sapphire crystal. It's just a little thicker than the SKX because of that sapphire crystal. It sits a little proud of the bezel. It has 22 millimeter lugs. Of course, the case is 360 stainless steel. It has an automatic movement, which is a Miyota 9039, which is a no-date movement. And I love this movement because it's slim, it is reliable, and it's high beat. It's a great movement. The water resistance on this watch is 300 meters, and it's going to come with Swiss BGW9 Super Luminova. Now, it has a custom bezel. Of course, as you can see, everything on this is going to be custom. It's going to have a broad coin edge bezel, has a custom crown, which is signed. The hands are, of course, custom made. They're diamond cut and lume treated. The bezel insert is ceramic. It has a 12-hour and a dive time bezel, depending upon which you choose. And there are many different color options on this watch. And of course, switching out the bezel also changes the options for you. It has a really unique embossed case back. They call it their Shark Shoal design. Say that 5 times fast. It actually looks really great. And it mirrors what you'll find on the dial, which we'll look at in more detail in a moment. It's going to come with a solid screw link bracelet with solid end links and a female head link, which means that it's going to drop really nicely. And I have to tell you, this is a really great bracelet. Now, this watch is going to come with 3 options. You're going to have the black with a matte finish DLC watch. You're going to have the shallow blue watch, and then you'll have what we have here today, the kelp green watch. And you can get 12-hour, as I said, which is a travel bezel or a dive time bezel. The straps available are actually dual. There's the bracelet, which we previously mentioned, and also a rubber strap that comes with it. So let's take a little closer look at this watch. I think, of course, the first thing you're going to notice is that Shark Shoal design on the dial. It's deeply etched, and it catches the light depending upon how you move the watch around. In the dark, it almost kind of fades away, but it looks textured. It gives a really neat design. And then juxtaposed against the busyness of that Shark Shoal design are the large hour markers that are connected with a white ring. Everything feels balanced. It feels a little bit busy sometimes, depending on how the light catches it, but those big thick markers sort of balance everything out. There's a home plate at 12 o'clock, which is mirrored on the bezel with another home plate. If you watch baseball, you know what that is. The bezel is interesting because it is a brushed ceramic bezel. And I really love the way the light catches the brushing in this bezel. The numbers on it are deeply embossed, and they run from 5, 10, 15 to 20, which you would often find in a diver bezel, but there are no minute markings other than that. So if you are a true diver, you may not want to take this one diving. That's up to you. You'll find broader markings at the 5s. However, at the 12, 5, 10, and 15, the markings are actually red, which I think is a really nice touch. It says first stage just above the pinion, below the 12, and of course their logo, and Shoal Deep and automatic on the bottom. The case is everything that we've come to know and love from the SKX. The polishing on the side and the brushing on the top is pretty much spot on. I like the addition of the signed crown. Now, when I first got this, the bezel was actually stuck. This is, I believe, a prototype. And so I think just being a prototype, it hadn't been used yet and it was stuck. But then I got it freed up. And it sounds pretty great. I can say it definitely has better action than my SKX. And unlike my SKX, the bezel actually lines up with everything else. One of the standouts for me on this is the bracelet, this Beads of Rice bracelet with many micro adjusts available. I have an 8-inch wrist. It wears very comfortably on my wrist, especially on this bracelet. In fact, I kind of want to tell them I lost the bracelet and send it on with a cheaper rubber strap because I would love to keep this for my SKX. I didn't try it on though, because getting this bracelet on and off is not easy. There are no drill lugs, and with the solid end link, it's not always easy to get your tool in there. Possible, but not something I want to do every day. I would love to see the inclusion of quick release on this bracelet. But the Beads of Rice is very comfortable. Lots of micro adjusts means that you're going to get a great fit. I didn't even size this bracelet. I put it on the smallest micro adjust and it fit my 8-inch wrist perfectly. So I was pretty happy to not have to get out my screwdriver set for this one. Although I have to say, screws are very easy in terms of sizing a bracelet. So what are the positives about this watch? Well, first of all, I'd say it's a nod to the mod. The mod community is a very passionate community, and I think that the SKX is the darling of the mod community, and so it's a great place to start. I'm really interested to see where they go in this partnership from here, what other cases they might decide to mod, and what else they can come up with. Another positive is that it is a very popular case, as we mentioned. The SKX is a great place to start. I also love the movement. The Miyota 9039 is a no date movement. There's no ghost position. I think that's fantastic. It's high beat, it's slim, it's a great movement. And I think fourthly, it's just something different. There's a lot of the same out there, and I love that this is, well, very familiar in certain ways, also very different. What are the negatives on this watch? Well, the sticky bezel was one major negative for me. However, it freed up pretty easily, and now it works great. Again, this is a prototype, not a production model, so there's bound to have a little bit of QC issues. I've never had a prototype, I think, that was flawless. I think the other negative might be the $450 price tag. Now, that is the early bird price tag, and that's not because it's bad value. I think there's a lot here. You get quality materials, you get a great movement, you get a design from Jack Hypoxia, which is pretty great, but there's just a lot in this segment for $450, especially if you go over to look at something like Mark's watches at Long Island Watch. They're priced around the $300 mark. Are they as creative as this? Are they going to be as well finished? Well, that remains to be seen. However, again, there's a lot of saturation for microbrands in this market. Although I'm sure that Second Hour and I'm sure that First Stage are well aware of this, and they've done their research, and I think they're going to have a pretty baked in following just because of the popularity of the mod community and Jack Hypoxia. So who is this watch for? Well, the Shoal Deep by First Stage watches is for those who want an authentic Jack Hypoxia design with the quality of Second Hour watches behind this new microbrand. I think if you like the design, you're going to find that it will be very well done. You're going to enjoy the feel and the comfort of the bracelet and the optional rubber strap. I think you're going to just enjoy having something on your wrist that nobody else has. Well, I'd really like to thank the good people at Second Hour, Jack Hypoxia, and First Stage for lending this in to the channel. If the watch shows up to the next reviewer without the bracelet, I don't know what happened to it. Thank you all for watching. If you feel like liking and subscribing, go right ahead and do that. I would love also for you to leave a comment down below to hear your thoughts on this Shoal Deep by First Stage watches.